All right, welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to lighten things up and we just have a ray of sunshine here. Welcome to Ivy Unleashed, Miss Francois.
Hi,
We got to
I'm
talk
happy to
about
be here.
how we met you because Brooke and I were at an event in Dallas. And it was a Build Your Brand event for Jen Gottlieb, who's a big speaker. And the first exercise she had us to do was basically say what we had to offer and what we were looking for. The first person I see is Miss Francois, and she is bold. She's walking around with just confidence. And I said, okay, what are you looking for? She goes, a sexy man. And I'm like, I thought, like, I'm thinking business and I was like, oh, shoot, I don't have that for you. But I do have a podcast. And she was like, well, great, because I'm an author and a TEDx speaker and have my own talk show. And I'm like, okay, now.
Now I can help you.
So,
You
yeah,
never know, you never know.
so Miss Francois is a TEDx speaker, host of the Miss Francois Show, author of Let That Man Go, plus 5 steps to getting over a breakup. So we want to talk today about humor, about love, about relationships, breakups, your life, because you have a wildly like empowering story from the beginning of your life. And so we're just so happy you're here. And
Thank you.
we want people to know why you named the book you named, because there's actually, what do you call it, expletives in there?
Expletive symbols. I don't know. Yeah.
Yes. So what that's the first thing I would say is the fact that you asked me about it. So it does get people talking. So when it says let that man go, just in between it has all those symbols. So I always say when people is upset about anything, you're angry. The words that come out your mouth, a lot of time people can't say it. But I want to make sure you could express yourself. So it's like let that nasty, disgusting man go, or let that effing, but whatever you want to say to release that stress, because you just want to strangle him at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have to see the book title to understand. So we will of course link it in the show notes. You can go look.
Yes.
We need you to see this. This is hilarious.
Yeah, and we want to talk about your story because you migrated here from Trinidad and Tobago, which that alone is something to talk about. And I believe you were a teenager, so can you talk to us about that experience as a teenager?
Well, first of all, I want to let you all know that Trinidad and Tobago, our accent is one of the top 10 sexiest accents in the world. So you're welcome. I'm blessing you right now. But when I came to United States of America, it was an initial shock. I could even say traumatic because where I came from, everybody you call auntie and uncle, everyone is helping one another. You could borrow sugar and food. Everyone is just this big family. Then when you come here and you land in America, everyone is rushing. Everyone has something to do. And with my situation, I went by family. What they don't tell you is when you're in your country, your family be like, yeah, come, we have all these things, we can help you, all these different things. But when you come here as an immigrant, most people have a very bad story. So I had one of those stories where if you put the light on, they say you're running up the bill. If you can't stay out too late, or if many times I would be in the library because I love reading, they think I was with somebody. It was always something negative, and it got so bad that they ended up putting all my stuff in a black garbage bag and put it outside, and I had nowhere to go.
No.
And that might sound, oh my God, but that happens to so many people. People just don't get to tell the story. The good news is when they put me outside, only after being 9 months in America, so that means I'm totally clueless, and I might have been 17, but keep in mind, I had the mindset of a 10-year-old, so I didn't know anything. I'm like clueless. My whole life, I count on my parents for everything. So here I am in the streets with a black garbage bag with nowhere to go. The good news is I'm always polite and I always said good afternoon and good night. Oh, well, we say good night in the Caribbean. To this particular, he owned a barber shop. And I went there basically to ask him if I could get somewhere to sleep. And he was like, no, you can't come home with me because I have a wife, so I can't help you. But the good news is this particular guy came by and I had seen him before because he cussed me out because I used to work in McDonald's and he cussed me out one time and he was like, isn't you the girl that I cussed out in McDonald's? And he was the one that was nice enough that he was gay, thank God, because back then that was all new. So he took me back to his house. I got a place to sleep that night. We put on dresses, watched a movie, and the next day someone was able to come get me. And it's always the strangers that seem to help me out in my life journey. Sad but true.
Wow. So were you like a foreign exchange student or who were you living with?
So I was living with my aunt.
Okay.
But everything is not always what it makes out to be. They had the attitude of the household of basically a lot of them was sleeping with people for money, but I didn't. I come from one of those Christian homes. I don't know anything. I've never seen a penis till I was like 18. Like, I don't know. So I'm just not accustomed to that kind of life.
So
It
thank
was
God
very
you
scary.
got out. It was terrible at the time, but looking back, I'm sure you see the blessing in it.
Wait, so that's what they were doing in their home, but you got kicked out?
I know. See, I should go look for them now. Yeah, because they were just not nice. Like the main thing with them is if you had money to contribute, like but significant money, and it's easier when you're sleeping around with people, you have significant money. And I don't know what a penis looks like. Like I don't know nothing. So I'm not accustomed to that kind of lifestyle. So I didn't fit the mold at that time.
Wow. And you were 17?
Yeah, 17.
And so were you going to school at that point? Like you plugged into the school
I was
system?
going high school. I was finishing because I finished high school in Trinidad and I had like the last year of high school here. And the sad part is like after that day that I spent at the guy's house, somebody at McDonald's that where I worked, she was nice enough to let me stay with her for a week so I could just go to my graduation. And I lived in New Jersey. So after about 9 months, I was able to come live with another set of strangers that treated me really nice in New York. But it was always seemed to be strangers. So that was the only family I had there at the time. And I am glad I got out of at that time because when I look back, anything could have happened to me. I could have been put out. You don't know who, looking at me, the wrong car could have gotten in. It could have
Yeah.
been a lot more scarier. So I am grateful.
Yeah. And if anybody's just listening on audio, I just think you should tune into YouTube because you have just such a presence. You're such a confident woman with zero hair. I just feel like that is so important. We've got to talk about your confidence because the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, your humor on your talk show is all about just owning your sexiness. It's like you're so confident in your looks, in who you are. And so I'm curious, have you always been like that?
Oh, hell no. Let's not get crazy.
Let's talk about your confidence. Where does it come from?
I think it's like this. I always say when you keep falling off a bike and you're bruising up your knees and everything, after a while you find different ways to not get bruised up. So I think without even realizing the shift happened, it's only when you look back, you see your journey, how you was changing as time goes on. Because even when I look back in simple thing as relationships, I was picking up these loser men. You could just say, "Oh, you look nice." I'm like, "Ah, he loves me." Clueless. Okay. So I think in time, when you get hurt in certain situations and you start to just naturally figure out, okay, I need to figure out different ways in order for me to love myself more, to do more things for myself, to put me first. And again, how old am I? I look like 35, but I'm 45. So I've been around the world. And I came back. Oh, that's a song. Or you might be too young to know that. But that's basically what it is. I think it's constantly working on myself and me being here. So this was not always like this. And yes, a lot of people is like, "Oh my God, this looks so amazing." I know, because I'm amazing.
So you're 17, living now in New Jersey with strangers. Fast
Right,
forward.
so I moved from New Jersey to New York.
New
So I
York.
moved to New York right.
Okay. So fill in the gap of New York to now you're an author, you're a TV host, you are confident as hell. What happened in the middle as far as where life took you?
Man, they stressed me
Men.
out, okay?
Okay. Tell me more.
I think the whole thing with me being here is that when I came from my country, right, I had 8 brothers and sisters. So I realized I'm very conscious, like family oriented. I wanted that whole family aspect. So a lot of the times I got myself in relationship for companionship and then I would adopt their family because I wanted somewhere to feel like I belonged because I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And Americans, you all are different, okay? We're all different. And it takes time to adjust to especially living in New York, okay? You all don't try to look for me after this episode. So with that, I think getting into relationships and like really like 7 year relationship where someone is cheating on you for like 5 years out of the seven. Like which part of that didn't tell me to leave?
Oof.
Right? Then you exactly. So then you get into and it was like relationship after relationship because I needed that companionship because I was too scared to be alone. And as they say, when you're in the picture frame, you don't see the picture. So you're thinking, I'm doing all the right things and this makes sense to me. But I think after a while, it's exhausting. And I'm someone that started seeking out like personal development. At that time, you didn't know what's personal development, but I wanted something more. Because if you notice, every time you get up, you brush your teeth the same way, you're doing everything the same way. But if certain things are not working, after a while, you're like, okay, I got to do something different. And I think with that, I started just searching out different things. And after certain relationship, I think the main relationship that really messed me up, wait, is it 7 years with the, no, that was, no, there's the one with the prostitute, right? So you had the regular, and in the beginning, you have to think about this. A lot of time we attract who we are. And at that point in time, for a huge part of my life, I had low self-esteem. I always say my mom gonna kill me for this, but when I was a kid, my mom used to say that I was ugly because I had a big nose, right? And that always bothered me. But again, keep in mind your parents, they say what they say, but Caribbean parents is tough, right? So for many years, I thought I was this ugly duckling because I'm the only one could see the bridge of my nose, not knowing everyone can. So when you already think you're ugly, you're not know who gonna want to talk to you. So if a guy say hi, you're like, okay, that's my man. This is gonna be my husband. And after I constantly got cheated on for majority of my relationship, but the last one, he was doing the prostitutes. And again, I'm pretty cool. If you're doing prostitutes, that's fine. But let's have standards. You understand? There's prostitute and there's prostitutes. So he was getting the prostitutes from, the regular street corner, at least get the prostitutes that's a little higher level that, if they have some kind of disease, you were just picking up anyone. And I think that really hit me hard because this was the one we were talking about kids and house and all these things. And he treated me so amazing. You would have no idea.
How'd you find out?
Girl, I'm super smart. I'm not stupid. Okay, that was a lot of accent. So, men not too smart, right? So, one of the first things, he was one of those awesome boyfriends where we would have the same phone. He would buy everything the same. He wanted to have the same password because it was cool. Everything. We're like, oh my God, we're together with everything. But now when I think back, it's because maybe he didn't trust me, right? So we had the same password, the same phone. One day I picked up the phone and he was right there next to me. And I just zoomed through some of the text. I'm like, who texts me this? Right? But I'm a fast reader, but we wouldn't get into that. So he's like, oh, babe, that's my phone. No, he didn't look guilty, no, nothing. But I remembered some of the stuff I saw, and I'm not a snooper. They say when you go looking for something, you find it. But since I saw something, I went back and it just had little stuff like he's talking to someone, nothing crazy. I'm that cool girlfriend. I'm trusting, right? But after certain situations, I always say women know when men are cheating. If you choose to pretend you don't know, that's your problem. But I had an idea, but I wasn't fully sure. So one time he called me on the phone and I just said this. I said, you're not tired of cheating on me? Like when you gonna stop? And men stupid. Sorry, man. Not some of you men are stupid. He said, oh, it only happened twice. You idiot. Right? So that, of course, well, that and stuff started to unravel, and then he started to talk about it more. And sometimes men not too smart. But this is what I decided to do. I said, okay, we love each other so much, we're even gonna go to therapy. You see that? Therapy after prostitutes, okay? So we went to therapy. And then when he sat down with the therapist, this is his story. Well, my dad wasn't in my life and I was cheating because I was looking for this and looking for that. And it sounded really nice. The therapist is like, oh my God, he's owning up to it. He joined my church. He joined the men's group because he was like, oh my God, I'm going to show to you that I've changed. He had two therapists and a men's group in the church, right? Because he's changing. 2 weeks later, he going to tell me how I'm not giving him a pat on the back because he did all these things to change and he don't understand what my problem is. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, right? And if that wasn't thing enough, every time that we went to the therapist, it was always him, right? And then finally I got really exhausted because he had the nerve to tell me that, Oh, I should have been more angry when I found out he slept with prostitutes and he'd been cheating. So now it's my fault that I didn't get angry that you decide to be a hoe. So the last time we went to the therapist, I decided, you know what? I'm tired of his sad story and his trauma. So I told the therapist, I said, yes, he cheated, but did he tell you he was prostitute? The therapist immediately looked through her nose. She's like, no, oh my God, I didn't know it was. And after that, I basically packed all this thing through it outside, and I was like, it's exhausting. I'm trying to, be open and understanding and seeing your side of things. And yes, maybe he has trauma, but I ain't your mother.
So how are you approaching being on the market different with everything you went through, what you know, and having higher standards now?
So this is the problem. Well, it's not my problem, it's other people's problem. Now people want to say I'm picky or my standards are too high. And maybe it is for some people who they're not at the level they need to be. So I just need to find me a stronger man that knows what he wants in life. And to me, at this age, you should just see me and be like, this is my resume. I'm like, okay, this is mine. You like yours? Okay, job interview immediately. Within 6 months, you should be pregnant and married. You see these 2, 3, 4, 5 years? It's a bunch of bullshit. What you're learning to figure out is either you know or you don't know. Because some people stay together for 5, 10 years, and what happens? It still doesn't work out. So I'm like, if you do the work on yourself, all the personal development, learning and growing, and you meet that right person at your level, it should be so easy. I think we make everything so hard. So I'm pretty much open. I think there have been segments where I'm like, I'm not dating right now because I'm trying to get certain things done. And sometimes they say when you're not looking, that's when they find you. And there are times when I'll be like, okay, let me do some apps, let me go out some more. But you know what's the problem? Every time you go somewhere, example, build a brand, who is mostly there? Women. Okay, so we all looking for the same man. That's not gonna work. So sometimes that's one of the issues. But at this point in my life, I'm pretty much open. So in case you all are listening to this, my type is basically Trevor Noah, 5'5", brown eyes and caramel complexion. But anything, that's me. But anything over 5'9", feel free to message me. Thank you.
You best believe that we will be sharing that. And this airs currently in 90 countries. So who knows?
Oh my God, I'm going to Italy.
We do have a lot of listeners in Italy. Yes.
I will travel.
I love it. Well, you're such a catch too, because I feel like what I was so drawn to with you is like the belly laughs. Like I can't even get through 3 sentences with you without laughing so hard. And I think that's so necessary through life. Like you're open to doing the work on yourself, knowing yourself, owning your weaknesses, owning your strengths, laughing through life. I just feel like you're such a catch. But I'm curious how humor has kind of played in your life. Like clearly I've seen a lot of the work that you've done and I'm always laughing, but how important humor and laughter is in what you do.
It's huge because I didn't even know the effects of humor. I think it was like a coping mechanism for me. And I would say was my mask. So I didn't have to deal with certain things when I added the humor, or it makes people, loosen up and relax. Because for example, women, when you're in a room with a bunch of women, this is how women go, who she thinks she is and what kind of dress is that and her earrings, her makeup is whack. But when you add some laughter, all of a sudden I become non-threatening. They're like, oh, I like her lips. Oh, her earrings is beautiful. So that's one of the things that I realized. So it was started as a coping mechanism and a mask, but then it ended up just being so amazing. And then when you look up laughter and you find out about the endorphins, how it relieves stress, it builds connection, it relieves pain. I mean, why not? Would you want to curl up? I mean, there are times you're going to be curling up in a ball crying. But when you really think back, even past relationships, when you look back, you laugh at some of those relationships. You're like, oh my God, he was ugly. Why was I with him? Like I could have done so much better. So it's a lot of things that I think it helps with so many things, just life in general, and it's scientifically backed that laughter is just heals so many things. So that's to me the easy go-to.
It's so true. And I was thinking too of like even the TEDx talks, sometimes they're so heavy, but the way that you lighten up the crowd, like if someone gets your attention with laughter, you are paying attention. You want to laugh more. It's like contagious.
I think it sets you apart in the personal development space too, because it can be so heavy. Right. And it's work and it's doing and it's changing. And your approach is let's have some fun and become our best selves. I love it.
Because a lot of times when I even walk out on stage or I'm talking, first of all, I'm like, oh my God, you see how good I look? So people, I'm like, because one time I went and sometimes when you introduce someone, the crowd is super loud and you're trying like, hello, hi. I'm like, everyone stop, look at this outfit, look at the outfit. And everyone's like, what? So it's, and you have everyone attention. So once you have everyone's attention and we know how short attention spans are, that's the immediate thing to catch you and they'll give you an extra 30 seconds. Hopefully you have something amazing to say.
Yeah. Let's talk about the platforms you've been on. So TEDx and the Mss Francois show. I want to hear both kind of how you got to this place where you have these platforms and what they are. Well, we know what TEDx is, but what you do with TEDx and about the Mss Francois show.
Okay, so the TEDx, there's something I think I totally manifested that because the whole thing about that is at that particular time when they reached out to me, I don't think I submitted anything anywhere. And I was just feeling down that day. And then I was driving and I paused because I was talking to a friend. I clicked on an email and I saw TEDx. Of course, pennies got wet immediately. Well, yeah, that too. But that's excitement. But
She
that
was pumped.
an experience in itself, okay? Because it's something that you seen, you watch on YouTube or whatever, but you never necessarily think it's you. But what is so amazing, I'm prepared for every opportunity, okay, Oprah? Just so you know, that I already had written my TEDx, I had labeled it TEDx, so I believed I fully manifested it, and it was just the right time when it was supposed to be. So that was an amazing experience, because even one of the cool things with who I did mines with, they were so helpful. They was good at mentoring. They were there with you all the way, because I've heard some other people experiences not always as good as mine was, and I had other people mentoring me on the side also because I was so nervous. It's amazing how you could be as glamorous and amazing and confident, but when certain things like fall in your lap, you just don't want to mess it up. Because at that time we were still coming out of COVID, so they had said to record your TEDx via Zoom. I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I made sure I rented a venue. I hired camera people. I was like, if I'm doing my TEDx and I manifested it, it's going to look amazing. And I'm very happy for the outcome.
Yeah.
And what about your talk show? Let's dive into that.
Oh, girl, let me tell you. It's called the Mss Francois Show. And first of all, MSS is multi-talented and super sexy. So as far as the TV show, it is candid conversation, a variety of entertainment, and I use humor to help you deal with your dysfunctional relationships. Because people in the beginning was like, my relationship not dysfunctional. I'm like, everyone's relationship is dysfunctional. You got to keep working and it's still dysfunctional. And the number one thing I brought was the humor. So in a lot of the episodes in the beginning, because I film in a studio, in the first 4 or 5 minutes, I would always have a comedian come on. The comedy would be about relationships, because I fully believe that when someone is clicking through channels or whatever the case might be, because mine is like 22 Caribbean countries and it's in the Northeast area. So when you click into channels, if you see somebody standing and saying something funny, you're going to pause and like, let me hear what he got to say. But if you turn on the TV and like, hi, my name is Mss Francois. What? You already went through like 5 channels. So I produced every aspect of my show. So I would have that. And then I would have the segment conversation, but it was always fun. So I would have 3 guys asking them, what do you think women want? I would have the coaches, the expert. Everyone is an expert these days. And I'm the kind of person, one of my slogans is, I say exactly what you're thinking. Because sometimes people come up there talking all fancy and, oh, I know this and I went to school. And I'm like, okay, but you ain't got no man. So obviously, whatever you feeding me ain't working. So I always tell people before they come on my show, watch 1 or 2 episodes, because I am not for everyone.
I love that.
And you've got 5 seasons. What have been some of your biggest takeaways?
Biggest takeaways is that just because you're an expert doesn't mean you know everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody is not for everybody. It's just like a particular diet is not for everybody. Everyone is unique in some aspect. So listen to different viewpoints and you decipher what might be best for you and your current situation.
That's such great business advice too, because it's
That's
like,
right, because I said it. But
that's
go ahead.
right. Well, it is, because it's like if you try and be for everybody, you're going to be for nobody. And so just be yourself. And another thing I love about like just thinking about your relationship as like it's all dysfunctional. It helps me too with like being a mom. It's like every household's got its own dysfunction, and it just like takes the pressure off of like trying to have this perfect relationship or this perfect household. It's like kind of owning and not taking yourself so seriously. Like everybody has dysfunction going on, and we can laugh about it. We can talk about it. We can get some experts in and get some skills in here. And then I think like it's beautiful that you've taken your heartbreak and your experience in relationships, you're honest about them, and you're honest about where you are, and then you're writing a book about heartbreak. Like you're using the pain that you've gone through to help people, which is so beautiful. So we want to hear more about your book and heartbreak, because you have some steps and some journaling prompts and things in this book that's really helpful and really beautiful. And we want to hear if anybody's going through heartbreak or maybe needs to work through the heartbreak that they don't have closure on. Talk about that book.
Because one of the first things with the heartbreak, what I can't stand with women sometimes, right? As soon as something happens, well, you know what? I'm fine because I didn't really need him anyway. And I'm like, girl, shut your mouth and go somewhere and cry. Like the first thing you need to do is just roll up in a ball and cry. Cry, just cry. Like people don't understand you do need to go through certain emotions before you can start to pick up yourself. At the end of the day, you don't want to be down there forever, but that's why I come up with certain steps. And again, some of these steps you might have to use all of them. Sometimes it's just one or two might just give you that extra oomph or aha moment to be like, you know what? I'm ready for that next chapter in life. Because I feel like our whole life is a book. And when it comes to relationship, we get stuck on, let's say, chapter 5. And we keep reading over the same chapter. He already went on, got married, have babies, and cheating on his wife, but you still stuck in chapter 5. Like you got to do something about that. So one of the things, and again, these things work for me. And you know, you have all your girlfriends. So one of the number one things for me, because I don't have to go through all the steps, but it's clean house. And I named it clean house because I said, no matter what, you have his t-shirt that you were sleeping in and you're sniffing every 2 seconds. Then you have all the pictures in the phone. And if you're old school like me, you still have the album. You're listening to all the songs. Then you have all the keepsake. You know, we women, we have the napkin from when we went. We stole the spoon from the first date, the chocolate wrapper. Like you really have to disconnect yourself from these things. Now, ladies, I would say, like, my man had bought me a big screen TV and a phone. Now, this is
You
how
keep
you work that out. If you know you're looking at the TV and the phone and you're crying every 2 seconds, then yeah, you're gonna have to get rid of it. But I felt fine while I looked at my big screen TV, so I didn't have to get rid of mine. So that's all up to you, right? But clean house, sort out everything. Some things you might need to burn, but I always say be wise. If you know he might take you to court, make sure you text him or have a friend text him to pick up him stuff. Okay, no need to go to prison and then you all call Mss Francois talking about she told me to burn your stuff. But some stuff you might need to burn. Some stuff you could just give away. Some stuff you could just throw out. You see, I think of everything. I'm freaking intelligent. But one of my things that helped me with my relationship is confidence, right? And the biggest thing about that, people's like, oh, your friends. I'm like, no, not the ones that try to sleep with your man or lies to you about everything where you can't trust. Everybody have a friend. It's a BFF. It's friends with benefits. And I feel like that word has been watered down till it means nothing. Friends, this is how I see friends. Okay, you want to hang out because we like the same movie, we hang out. But you don't have to know the size of my man penis or nothing like that. Because you know, friends ain't too smart. Girl, let me tell you what he did to me last night. No, that's your business. That's not that kind of friend. But now you have a confidant, the person you could be vulnerable with, share extra emotion with, you could be open with, you don't have to be judged. And most of the time, you only have one or two, if you're lucky, three confidants in your entire lifetime. So you have to know who these people are. These are the people that when you tell your story 10 times, you know, you woman, you're going to tell the story 10 times, like you break up in all different ways. But they're not going to judge you and they're just going to sit there and listen. Not say, girl, we need to get in the car. We need to do a drive-by. Oh, I can't believe that's a chick. No, calm it down. No prison time. So confident, clean house, passion project, I call one of them. Think about it. When you was with the man, you was cooking, you was cleaning, you buying all these things, you focus on his job and everything is him, him, him. You forget you wanted to write a book. You forget you wanted to have a podcast. You forget you forget every goal and dream you have because you're so wrapped up in this amazing man who is 6 feet tall, smooth, dark, sexy, complex. Okay, I was just sorry, thinking about somebody else. But you're so wrapped up that you forget about your dreams and goals. So this might be the time for you to definitely dig in, look back to some of those things, and get back on that path of doing things for yourself and discovering things and building this whole new vision for yourself. To me, when you're occupied with the right things, you don't waste all this time on chapter 5 in what I could have done and I should have did it done. I know he said he wanted a threesome, but I should have think no.
And how healing to do it with you guiding them, right? Using
How
humor. How healing.
how
So
healing.
you're giving them the steps to heal,
Right.
but it's you that's doing it, and you're adding in your humor, which is like
Yes.
you're 10xing the experience for them, getting them to heal so much quicker, which I love. Like everything happens for a reason is what I believe, and
Right.
there's no coincidences. And so everything you've been through has led you to this moment to help women. And it's so impactful and empowering. And I'm so just grateful that we got the opportunity to meet you and that our audience gets access to you, whether they need a good laugh or they're healing. So where can they find the books? Where can they access your work?
So everything is on the website or anything, any social media. I'm on every social media and it's on MSS_Francois. And I'm sure you're all going to put it out for everyone, but every social media definitely can find media. And one of the things that I'm working on is called Striving Goddesses. And one, because every time you pivot and you realize certain arenas. So one of the things that I'm working on, a lot of people call me like the humorous keynote speaker. So I'm definitely focused even more now on women, like those exploring new relationships or those healing from relationship to just rediscover their self-identity. Really get focused on who you are and definitely being able to transfer to the next chapter in your life.
I love that. And I think too, it's like, you don't have to be on the cusp of a breakup for that. I think women
Right.
are constantly rediscovering who we are. And, I think of myself as a mom, and a lot of moms say, like, I got lost in my kids. I got lost in, you can get lost in your man, or you can get lost in your kids, or you can get lost in your job, where you're like, do I even like what I'm doing anymore? Is this
Right.
something I'm passionate about? And so I feel like Striving Goddesses, first of all, I love that name. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Well,
Because,
I always call myself a goddess, so I took it from there. And
yeah.
someone was telling me to do striving, and I'm like, when you look up the word striving, it sounds like you're struggling and you're just barely making it. And when you look up striving, it's like we're here, we're prospering. It's amazing. So I love it myself. Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, it hits home. I love that idea. And you're in the personal development space, constantly growing and understanding yourself. And so I feel like that's such a huge part of owning who you are, so you can consider yourself a goddess, right? That you're doing that inner work to build that confidence. Because if we don't know who we are and what we're passionate about, how can we walk around confident? So
Right.
like Brooke said, I'm so happy that you exist and that we are giving people access to you, because we've had so many laughs so far. But the show is not over. We have a few more segments. Our first one is 3 gold stars. So what would be your 3 top tips, takeaways for our listeners?
Okay, one is surrounding confidant. Like if anyone listens to Jim Rohn, he was the one supposedly came up with the concept of your 5 friends, right? Your average of your 5 friends. But I think we hear these things and we don't really hear these things. So I would encourage everyone to really look at your phone to see who is the last set of 5 people you keep calling all the time and really write down those people name. Find out how much, maybe an average of how much they make. Find out like what are they really adding to your life? What are they doing? What are their goals? And really decide if these are the people in your life and are they just friends or are they confidants?
Love that.
That's a like a wow moment. Ooh, no.
No, yeah, I
That's
love that.
That's a big number one.
I love that too. Like you said, like you hear it, but do you really hear it? Are you really taking in inventory of who am I talking to the most and how are they impacting my energy and how I feel about myself? Like that is,
Are you doing something about it?
yeah, love it.
Yeah, because I think everyone just go, ooh, that's good. And then they continue talking to your loser friends that get drunk every weekend and have no real goals. And I would say the second one of the things that I had put in the book is volunteer. I think when we go through all these different changes in life, right? I think one of the good things you need to focus on is sometimes pause on yourself and help someone else. And even in helping someone else, how you feel so good about yourself and you're helping someone that they're going to feel good about what's going on in their life, that you stop to think of them. So I, for instance, like I do a lot of different volunteer stuff. So I would encourage someone that instead of having a pity party every 2 seconds, really reach out and help someone. And sometimes when you help someone, you realize how great you have it because there's always someone doing worse off than you. Not to feel good about it. Okay, people? And it's the same thing like you said with I mean the third one might be come back to like clean houses, like beside in the inventory of your friends, like really look around your life and where you are and take inventory. Like what have you been doing and have it been the things you've been doing, is that leading you to some of your goals? Like, what are some things you really need to take a step back from? Regardless if that's just the lifestyle you have, the friends that you have, the job that you have, is those are the things in your life that you really love doing, or you're just doing it because you're desperate to pay a bill out of responsibility, or you just been in your job for so long you think this is what life is. So really reevaluate where you are and really decide if this is where you want to be, and maybe start making some small changes.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so our next segment is Unleashing Ivy. These are questions that we're curious about that you don't know. Are you ready?
Oh my God.
My question is about confidence. So someone comes up to you, wants to work on their confidence. What advice do you give them? And maybe some tools that you currently use to help boost your confidence. Because I want what you're having.
Yeah. Me too.
So when it comes to confidence, I think first of all is the words that we use, right? With ourselves. A lot of people talk about the words that follow I am. So really focus on your vocabulary. Words can be healing or it could be poisonous. So just be more conscious of the things you tell yourself. And we say, oh, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, that don't make no sense. I'm so dumb. And simple thing like pausing and being conscious of the words that come out your mouth could start to help have a healing and positive impact of how you see yourself and how you carry yourself. So that's one thing I would encourage everyone to do. Damn, that answer was good. What's my name?
I love it. I love it. My question has to do with trust. You've been through it, right? And trust is something that you need in friendships, in relationships, and you've been burned pretty badly. And so, how do you trust people after all that you've been through?
So I will say this. With all the personal development, at the end of the day, right? Everyone is going to hang themselves at the end of the day, right? So basically, I think you shouldn't let anybody make you into something that you're not. You continue to be your confident, your happy, go lucky self, but still guard your heart and be conscious. Because what Maya Angelou say, I can't remember the quote. It has to do with if someone show you who they are, believe them. And I think it's us to have better discernment because people basically say, here's a red flag. And we're like, he didn't mean that. So just be conscious of these things. It doesn't take you 5 months, 5 months, 5 years to figure out certain things. Certain things would show up really early, and don't make excuses for other people. And to me, you should be going in with a trusting attitude, a trusting spirit, and let that person show up who they are, and then you know it's time to move on. And believe me, that happens pretty early. We're not conscious of it.
Oh, that's great advice.
Good answer. Okay, last question. If you could go back and tell younger you one thing, what age would you choose and what would you tell her?
I would tell her around the time my mom said my nose was big and that wasn't pretty. I'd be like, hey, your mom have the same nose. That means she ugly too. So let's move on with life. It's not even that serious. So I think my thing with telling myself is just keep going. Like you're on the right path. You're beautiful. You have everything you could possibly need. You're unique. It's only one of you. And I think a lot of times we're so busy, they say comparison is the destroyer of joy or something along
Thief
those
of joy,
lines.
yeah.
But right. So the whole thing is, I think we grew up always you compare yourself to your brother, your sister, your mom, everybody. And then same thing with social media, all these different things. But at that age is just to let me know I am beautiful, I am unique, and I'm going to be dynamic no matter which path I choose to go on.
Yes, I love it. That's why we had you on the show. There's just no one like you. You're so unique. And Brooke hadn't met you, but I was like, you've got to meet her because you just are. You are so unique and you are unapologetically yourself and
Damn right.
open. Like we always message the people that are going to be on the show and we're just like, hey, here's some ideas of things we want to talk about. But we really like just an authentic conversation. She's like, I'm good on that. I will be. and I knew that, but it's so refreshing to have someone that can talk about the dark times with humor, that can own their weaknesses, their strengths, that can show up confidently after all that you've been through. Like you're just a sign of strength and we need more laughter in our lives. So thank you for being you and
You're very welcome.
yeah, and accepting yourself and then not just accepting, but elevating your voice in the ways that you have. We want to give everybody access to you and we're so happy that we get to today. So thank you for being here.
Very well. And Brooke, you're welcome. Now you get to meet me. Now you could go
I'm
on living.
honored. I also just want to add that one of my goals this year is to laugh more. I said I want to giggle more. And so I believe that I manifested this. You in my
Awesome.
circle, making me laugh, making me belly laugh and giggle. And it feels so good. And so I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you guys for having me on the show. Truly appreciate you. Because you see, you never know how we met. You just never know who is going to appear in your future and how we could connect and network. So this is awesome. Thank you for a great experience.
Yes, you are so welcome. And we hate to see you go, but we always end every show with a piece of gold, a quote that speaks to you.
Okay, so when you had mentioned that, I started rattling off my brain, but I think the one that always comes to mind is it's Zig Ziglar. You can get everything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. So that's one of my, yeah, Zig Ziglar, one of my favorites. So it's all about service. So that has always been one of my favorite quotes because I love volunteering. I like helping people. And just like events like the stuff we go to, even with Jen and everyone is just helping, giving so much information. All these things do come back to you. So I feel like it comes full circle. Once you give, you receive.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.